It's time for a battle. A death battle. Hey, what's going on, you guys? My name is the Raptor, and welcome back to another one of my Death Battle prediction videos. And next time on Death Battle, to kick off the second half of Season 9, we have James Bond going up against John Wick. Now, yes, before anyone says anything, I know a lot of people, including myself, have already known about this episode because it was revealed at RTX a little while back. But you know what? I didn't want to make this prediction until Death Battle revealed it publicly on YouTube, so here we are. And yeah, I really was not expecting this fight to happen, like, in the slightest. Partially because I don't hear this fight being thrown around that often. I think the main opponent I hear for John Wick is like Agent 47 or someone, but granted, you know, there are a lot of matchups you can make in the super spy category, so this works just fine. But yeah, either way, I can't really complain too much because this is something that Death Battle doesn't normally do, and I really love it when they try new things and use different kinds of characters. So I'm excited, and hopefully this will be a lot of fun. Also, I believe this was confirmed to not be a live action fight. It's going to be Blender, you know, animated in that style of animation. And, you know, some people might be a little upset with that, but I'm personally fine with it, so I can roll with it. Now, when it comes to what they're going to include for these characters, I have to imagine they're taking the James Bond actors, as well as probably the James Bond from the books, and just throwing them all into one character. Obviously, they'd either be doing this or just using the Daniel Craig material based on the trailer that they put out, but I think compositing them into one character is more in line with what Death Battle has done before. You know, they've composited characters that have very distinct versions before, like Link from Legend of Zelda, Spyro the Dragon, etc, etc. And ultimately, I don't really see them leaving out stuff for a character that has so much information, and where one Bond isn't really more canon than the others, at least in a manner of speaking. You know, I can see them not doing that possibly. I could also see a lot of people thinking that's not really the right way to do it, but if Death Battle really wants to represent James Bond and what he's all about, then I think them compositing James Bonds into one James Bond is likely. When it comes to John Wick, it's a lot easier. Of course, there are the movies starring Keanu Reeves and the comic books that are based off of the movies. So again, you know, there's not really a lot of questioning there. They're probably going to take all of that information. But when it comes to James Bond, just to be clear, I'm going under the assumption for the rest of this prediction that they're just going to be taking all of the James Bond material and putting it all into one character. And if they aren't doing that, then, well, they aren't. But anyway, on to actually going over the characters. So both James Bond and John Wick have shown off impressive fighting ability and are very skilled with the weapons and gadgets they carry on them. They're both insanely stealthy. They're both impressive quick draws with near 100% accuracy. They can take on numerous opponents at once by themselves with high stamina. And they're both outstanding quick thinkers that can use their smarts and skills to the best of their abilities in pretty much any situation. There are, of course, differences in their exact accomplishments, but nothing in my opinion that would turn the tides drastically or give one an obvious 100% win rate advantage or anything like that. There's just a lot of overlapping stuff between them naturally. The major differences, however, like the stuff that really sets these two apart, unfortunately for John Wick, are basically all in favor of James Bond, and really it's the stuff you would expect it to be, like experience, arsenal, and some physical feats, just based on all the material that James Bond has. Now, Death Battle may not include every single gadget that James Bond has used, I could definitely see that, but just to give you an idea of what he has used, he's used a ton of firearms, grappling gadgets, you know, high-tech wristwatches and sunglasses, tricked out with basically anything you could think of, knives, explosives, flashbangs, stun gas, an acid pen, a protective bubble to protect from high-impact forces, a ring that emits high frequencies, dart guns, lasers, bulletproof clothing, and basically anything else you can think of that's associated with the spy character. He's like the super spy version of Link, you know, he's just got everything. He's also used a ton of high-tech land, air, and water vehicles, and also some special environmental suits, some or all of which Death Battle may not include, but hey, they're there. John Wick, on the other hand, while still possessing a fair amount of equipment, simply does not have as much as Bond from a sheer quantity perspective. Sure, he's got his own firearms, bulletproof armor, knives, explosives, as well as some other one-off weapons he's acquired for primarily one-time use, but James Bond has more weapons and more weapons that can do more things, giving him more options and more unpredictability. And to be perfectly honest, John Wick's arsenal consists of weapons that pretty much every individual version of James Bond has anyway, and there are very few of them that are limited to just those things. Even John Wick's vehicles, like his car and motorcycle are outnumbered and out-teched by Bond's vehicles. Now, of course, there's the inevitable argument of, well, they can both die to bullets, both of them have bullets, so we just need to look at that. And while that is fair to a degree, both of them have survived and dodged bullets before, so I don't really think it's fair to just look at their quote-unquote immediately fatal tech. And even then, saying that doesn't give John Wick the advantage, it puts both of them on equal footing, at which point you would need to look at the other tech anyway to come to some kind of conclusion. Well, that, and you would need to look at their physical feats, which we can get into now. It's no secret that both of them have done things that are virtually impossible for regular humans, and in some cases even for regular physics. But once again, James Bond just has more. He has more showcases and different kinds of showcases. For instance, John Wick has thrown grown men across rooms before and through tough materials. He's broken bones and snapped necks easily. He's kept up in fast-paced hand-to-hand and assassination battles, and he's withstood various tumbles, strong attacks, and even explosions. And that's all incredibly impressive. But James Bond has also been in quick hand-to-hand fights, he's busted through entire walls on multiple occasions, and he's taken impacts and hits that are at least just as deadly as Wick, and way more frequent given his longevity. On top of that, there have been instances of James Bond's firearms actually piercing through armor that is regularly bulletproof, whereas I don't think John Wick's guns have that same kind of track record, meaning that from a defense perspective in general, I would say James Bond is more secure. And of course, given all the material he has obviously been sent into way more notable missions and has fought a far more varied selection of opponents, including opponents who are physically superior to him like Oddjob and Stamper, and the usual criminal mastermind high-tech crowd. I don't think the physical stats here are that important, to be honest, and I definitely don't feel the need to categorize these characters into specific AP levels or anything like that, because I don't think it's that necessary. But just as a general rule, James Bond's experience and what comes out of that experience definitely puts it in his favor, physically speaking. Don't get me wrong, John Wick is insane in his abilities and has done a lot of what James Bond has done on a basic level, but just when looking at everything that James Bond has done, he has done more, and in most areas has just done better. Some people may call this fight unfair, and I can definitely see why, but personally, I don't really have an issue with Death Battle using all of Bond's material if they decide to go that route. When it comes to a character like James Bond, where essentially the point is that he's a multi-iteration character, I don't see that as a ridiculous approach. But either way, I'm ultimately not committing to predicting the specific conditions of this fight, I'm just using it as a way to help me predict the winner of the fight. So just to be clear, if James Bond wins, regardless of the conditions that they use, so regardless if they composite all the bonds together, or if they don't do that or whatever, if James Bond wins, then I get the prediction right. And if John Wick wins, again, regardless of what conditions they use, then I get it wrong, in case anyone was confused about that. But yeah, I love John Wick. I especially love Keanu Reeves. I love him so much. I might honestly be rooting for John Wick in the battle for that point alone. But overall, I think James Bond just has better weaponry and better gadgetry, slightly more impressive physical capabilities, and in general, I just think he has a better chance of landing a killing blow on John Wick than John Wick has of landing one on him. That's just my opinion. Maybe I'm wrong, but that's what I'm going with. I, of course, am just one guy with one set of opinions. I want to hear what all of you guys have to say. Are you excited for this fight? Who do you think is going to win? Let me know down in the comments below. I'd love to hear what you guys have to say. If you enjoyed this video, be sure to give it a like and maybe even subscribe as well. That'd be so great. That would really help the channel out. But no matter what you guys do, thank you all so much for watching. I really do appreciate it. I'm personally very excited for this episode, and I'm even more excited to see what other treats await us in the remaining Season 9 lineup. That's it for me. I will see all of you guys in the next video. Peace out.